Hey everybody, welcome back to Jurassic Peck Farms. I did some filming this last week. I didn't really have anything in mind when I was filming. I had a couple small ideas here and there. Um, and then it got pretty hot and I got called away to go do some work. So I kind of have a compilation of stuff. I have some harvesting of tomatoes. I have, some planting of stuff I did. Today it is extremely hot. It is like over 100, and for us up here that's pretty hot. It is the afternoon. You can see I'm standing in the shade. You can see my grass is completely dry behind me, which is fine because it'll bounce back. The plants are definitely wilting and looking extra dramatic, but I guarantee you the tomatoes are going to be extra delicious because they've been out in this really hot sun yesterday, today, and even tomorrow it's going to be kind of hot. Now, when it does get this hot, tomatoes have a tendency to maybe either drop their blossoms or not bloom as much, but I'm not super worried about that because around Wednesday, Thursday, it's going to start dropping down back into the mid 80s, and we even have a couple days of rain where it's going to be like 70, which is a little weird for us in August, but still, it's been a pretty mild summer for us, besides these few little days here and there that we get up to a little bit over 100. Okay, so I'm going to show you the plantings that I did last week. Like I said, it has been pretty hot, but I've been keeping it well watered. The carrots haven't sprouted yet. I did get some stuff to sprout. I'm pretty sure it's the radishes and probably some of the turnips and maybe some of the like lettucey items that are in there. Spoiler alert, the cats did dig it up, and spoiler alert again, I just buried it again. And we'll see. It's not going to be in a neat straight row anymore. They look like they left the tiny little rows alone, but got the big seed mat. So I'll show you that right now. Also, I'm going to show you just like some general things I did this last week. Sometimes you just got to film and try to come up with something. And I had a couple ideas for stuff, but like I said, it got really hot and my life just got really hectic, but I promised I was going to be uploading a video, hopefully every Monday or whenever I get a chance, but at least once a week. And this is my chance. This is what I did last week. It's not super exciting, but here we go. I'm going to share. Okay, so here we go. I am outside. It's the middle of the week, and we're going to get some rain tomorrow, which is a little rare for us in the middle of summer. And it looks like it's going to be all morning, drizzly. So I thought this would be a perfect time to plant some carrots. So here are the two beds that I'm going to be planting in. I'm going to leave this one alone just for a little bit. I don't want to give them all. The kale is for the chickens at this point. It's dinosaur kale. They love it. It's one of their favorites. However, I don't really want to give it to them right now. So I'm going to leave this bed as is, but I'm going to do this bed right now. Okay, so just for a little background, I wanted to try some seed tape because this bed gets dug in so much by cats, because I don't have the mesh wiring cut in time to cover it like I wanted to try. I'm going to try some tape. These are from Territorial Seed. They're not a sponsor, but they're just a local company for me here in the Pacific Northwest. So I decided I'm going to try some radishes, French breakfast radish table, and some carrots, which are a hybrid. I do need to get those in the ground pretty soon. Actually, I'm already a little late. And I also wanted to try some beets, and if I have room in this bed, I'm going to do the beans. I also would really like to do the seed mat in this bed as well, so I kind of just have one whole bed full of everything ready to go. Okay, so I have just some worm castings here. I'll probably put a bag of soil in and then mix this in. The soil is brand new, so it's just a Harvest Supreme. It has some chicken manure in it. I have had really good success with it. It's usually for in-ground garden beds, but I've just been using it on top of these and piling compost on top of it. It seems to be working just fine. So I'm going to start with this, and normally, I don't wear gloves normally, but I'm doing it because I work in food service. I don't really want to be that person that's handing somebody their drink or food with really dirty hands, even if I scrub them. So here's what we're doing. So you want to be really cautious of like how you're planting things based on like height. All of these are pretty low. I mean, the carrots will get tall. I mean, these are old carrots that overwintered. So I'm actually instead probably going to plant them like lengthwise like this. So they're perpendicular to the planter, the front and the back of the planter. That way, hopefully nothing will shade each other out. However, I'm still going to plant the radishes on this side because my sun goes this way, like across the beds. The sun, as you can see, is like almost directly in my eyes right now. It's not the best time to film, but just got home from work, so time to plant some vegetables. Yeah, so I'm going to do that. And then the seed mat, I'm probably just going to plant. The seed mat, I'm just going to plant on the other side over here. So seed mat will be here. And then over here, I'm going to plant these items. So here we go. So this is my first time planting with seed tape. Ow, this bed is hot. But, you know, I've planted lettuce with seed tape, but I haven't planted radishes or carrots. Normally with, you know, radishes, carrots have really small seeds, and, you know, so do beets, kind of have bigger seeds. You want to make sure you're not planting them super deep. I usually just, I honestly usually just kind of put them down in the soil and then like pat them in, maybe sprinkle a little soil over and make sure I water a lot. I'm kind of going to do the same. These are kind of cool because they actually, at least on there, tell you what they are. So you can see these are the French breakfast radish. And you can kind of see in them, like you can see the seeds kind of throughout there. I don't know if that's picking up on camera, but radishes, you know, I plant them pretty close together because especially these are French breakfast radishes. They're not going to be super big. And if you've never had a roasted radish, you're missing out because honestly, ooh, I just like unraveled. It looks like, so you can just tear those and put them down. So I really like radishes. I love a good roasted radish. They kind of taste like potatoes and they're really delicious. So I'm going to space them out here. I'm going to leave them like that so you can so I can see where I'm going. Next, I'm going to do carrots. If you're planting carrots with seed, just make sure you really put them on top. So carrots are one of those things where you really need to have the soil stay damp, not soaking wet. And they have to stay, like the carrots, if they dry out, they won't germinate. A lot of people will put a board over them. I tried that here, and honestly, uh-oh, got some wind. Let's put some... Okay, so scratch. It's like the wind is trying to take them. So these are supposed to be spaced like appropriately, but obviously if they come in and they're too close together, I'll just trim them. It's not a problem. I'm actually gonna, I don't know how, let's see how much. Let's do that. Whee! All right, so that's good. Oh no. I might just save that little, oh, get back here. Well, of course, it hasn't been windy all day, but yet when I'm trying to film this video, the wind just kicks right up in. You can feel the rain is coming in. And for those of you that don't know, yes, you can smell rain coming in. You can feel it on the air. It's a little cooler. All right, so we got, I'm just gonna do 2 rows of beets because I wanna make sure these work. And beets, oh, let me just rip that right off. All right. Beets, their seed itself, okay. So beets themselves, you can kind of see. So you can see, like, the seeds are a lot bigger. They're, like, that's the seed right there. So, a lot bigger. Well, I'm going to have to fix that. Seed mat. When I measured, it looked like it would perfectly fit this bed. Looks like leaf lettuce, mustard, rocket, spinach. Okay, so it definitely is a blanket. I'm gonna plant it like this because that's what I have left, but I'm gonna plant it this way since turnips are on this side, leaf lettuce is on this side. And it's meant so that you literally can just lay it in this bed, cover it with soil, and you'll be good to go. But I'm gonna try it this way. Probably should be using scissors, but in fact, hold on. I need to go get some scissors. That's too hard to rip. All right, back with the tool that I should have started using to begin with. Okay, there we go. All right, seed mat. I'm gonna actually have another bag of soil. I'm just gonna pour right over it. So I'm just gonna do this. I'm not putting a super thick layer of soil over it because a lot of these are really small seeds. You know, it looks like I'm dumping a lot, but it's actually pretty shallow. This would also, I mean, the seed tape wasn't cheap. I just wanted to try it as an alternative to some of the other stuff, since these are some of the seeds that I tend to have go missing because of cats digging in the garden or squirrels or whatever the case may be. Once again, you can still see the paper through some of this, so on these, but I'm going to pat it down. And I guarantee you, if I come out tomorrow, I probably show you when I come out here that some of these are going to be dug up, because that's just the nature of my life here. Okay, so I'm planting them today. It is a little hot outside today. It's actually cloudy and humid. And surprisingly, the breeze feels nice when it picks up, which apparently is only when I'm trying to lay the seed tape down and give you guys a demonstration. But the last thing you need to do when planting any seeds at all whatsoever is make sure they are well watered in. So even these, they want to make sure that it's nice and damp. The thing with the seed tape is not only will it hold the seed in place, but it's also going to keep that moisture in there for a little bit until it sprouts. It'll germinate and kind of pop through the paper. I've seen it with the lettuce. It worked really well last fall with just like a leaf lettuce. It's just kind of cool. It's a fun little thing. I don't use this very often, but it's just a fun little trick. So I'm going to go get the hose. I'll be right back. Normally you don't want to top water stuff, but as they're seeds, you're just getting them to germinate. So the carrots, you can also put a board over. I've seen that work. The reason I haven't done that is, well, I have slugs over here, and every time I put a board over something, they congregate under them. They have themselves a little seedling party. Now we do have an 85% chance of rain tomorrow for pretty much all of the morning. It doesn't mean in Oregon that it's going to be a really heavy rain, but it does mean that stuff is going to get damp enough. Seeds are pretty high to the top of the soil here. I'm not super worried about it, but I am going to check them tomorrow when I come home. All right, so now those are planted, and hopefully the cats won't dig into them. So as you can see, it's pretty weedy. And it's really just in the front right here. But this huge thing is an apple tree. You can see it's not trimmed at all, really. But I'm also going to come in here and trim some of those branches back, and it should look a whole lot different. So here's the before, and I am not trimming that right there. That is my asparagus. It gets to stay there. It gets to be wild and crazy, but all of this right in here, all of this down into here, and then I'm going to trim some of these branches that are sticking out too far so I can't really get back there, because sometimes I do have to go back there and get the ducks. So here we go. Oh, and you know, probably should take that down. Okay, well, you know, wasn't a super long job. I did get some of the blackberries that were encroaching on the chicken area. So that's pretty much it, you know. That back there wasn't too bad, just getting some of the weeds. The asparagus gets to stay. Obviously, like, I'm gonna trim back some of this apple tree that's right here. It's still pretty overgrown, but at least I can get back there now without some sort of crazy amount. Just remember, if you're doing any of this, safety goggles. Also makes it a lot easier to see if you get amber ones. You can kind of see stuff a little better when it's cloudy, like it is today. So anyway, let's see how the ducks like it. I guarantee you they're gonna be really nervous at first, but I think they'll get right into it. So anyway, I just wanted to share this because I'm going to pick them off, but it looks so glorious right now. And actually, if I go over here, this wasn't supposed to be a harvest video or anything, but if I go right here, like, look at this. There's just, but like, look at this, even on the backside. Just tons and tons of sun golds all the way through here, which is like my dream. And then this looks like I'm gonna have to pick this up because this is a heavy branch. Let me try to do one-handed without breaking anything. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna have to put the camera down and do this separately, but this is leaning down. It looks like it's gonna break the branch, so I'm gonna put the camera down and be right back. Okay, so fun fact, like this whole section right here was actually laying down here. There were two big branches and all of these fruits were so heavy. I'm gonna harvest these even though I know they're not quite ripe yet. So I'm gonna harvest these even though I know, like this one right here and the one in the back. I know they're not quite ripe yet, but I really don't want them to split. And they haven't had a ton of water and I don't want them to get any blossom end rot. Guys, my ducks are finally exploring the other side of I just opened the bigger run for them. And look. So they're finally venturing into the second half of the run. Back to tomato picking. I mean, look at this. The garden is all right. Well, I've been out here harvesting because we are supposed to get rain tomorrow. I got one pepper, but lots and lots of tomatoes. I got some sunrise bumblebee, which I'm really excited for. And I have a bunch of big ones right here on the plant. These are the candy cherry, and actually so are these. So 2 candy cherries, lots of sun golds, some Brad's Atomic Grape that were out of the sun, but they're ready to go. They just fell right off. This one has a little blossom end rot, but I'll cut it off and have it for dinner. All right, guys, something I wanted to share was these are the Berries Crazy Cherry, and look at that. Just giant clumps of fruit. I've never actually gotten to harvest one. Yeah, there's a couple green ones, but they'll ripen because they're almost yellow. I got a bunch too that are just off, but like they grow in these like grape clusters and they're so cool. I've actually never had a chance to pick a full one off. They've always ripened separately, so I had a couple of them. So I got this one. It's pretty cool. Okay, so one thing you're going to want to make sure you do is if you have beans, you're going to want to make sure you're harvesting them regularly. Beans will stop producing once they realize that they've created enough fruit and they no longer need to produce more beans. So, for example, here are some really tiny beans on the top of this plant. There are some, actually I found some really tiny ones over here. Like, look, so these are really tiny ones on the end with the flower. That is a half-developed bean. More beans right there. I did go through and harvest quite a bit, but like when you have beans like that, you're going to want to pull them. These are actually dragon tongue bush beans, and they're really cool because when they're in the sun, they turn really dark purple. So like this one had a lot of sun exposure, turned really dark purple. This one did not. It was near the bottom of the plant, so part of it looked exposed. This part was probably hanging underneath. They are really cool. I do have some Blue Lake bush beans in here, but just a few. The dragon tongues are my favorite. If I let that grow and just stay on the plant and become a dried bean, the plant is going to think it's done and doesn't need to create any more beans. So you want to pick them regularly. I like the dragon tongues, 1, because I can see them, and 2, because like this is a green one, snuck right in there. And 2, because I just like them. I think they're cool. I don't really have a good reason. I just really enjoy them. All right, so that's a full basket of cherry tomatoes, all cherry. I'm going to take them inside, wash them, divide them up. All right, guys, well, that was quite an interesting week. Did some weed whacking, did some tomato harvesting. I got 2 really big baskets of cherry tomatoes from, you know, I think I have like 15 cherry tomato plants, and not all of them are producing as much at the moment, but a lot of sun golds, a lot of candy cherries. I even got some evil olive tomatoes, and some Brad's Atomic Grape. Also got some Berries Crazy Cherry, which is always fun. And hopefully that other stuff will grow and get a chance. Hopefully the cats will leave it alone. Like I said, I could put something over it. I just didn't have anything, and that's what I did, and I made do with what I got. So I might have to succession sow some of the the items in there. Like I might put some more lettuce or maybe some more radishes or just something like that in those beds. And then I still have to clean out the other bed that's next to it. I really do want to plant some other stuff in there. It might just be, I don't know if I'm going to do beans, or I might actually do some sort of lettuce mix or some sort of like kale, like replanting for the fall time. I really do prefer to plant like carrots in those raised beds, because my soil is so clay in ground that even if I have a raised bed that's like this much, it's not quite enough for carrots yet. It will be. I'm working on the soil. It gets better every year. This is my 5th year here in some of the beds, and then most of the beds like on this side where like the kiddie pools are and the ones that are a little closer to the duck area, those ones I started later. I only started with one main bed 5 years ago with some smaller beds in between, and then I added these beds behind that you see here, all the way down to the fence. I added those 4 years ago, and then the ones in the center I just added those 3 years ago. So they're all kind of new. They're all getting the soil built in, and I'm still dealing with weeds obviously, but every year they do get better, even though it does look crazy this year. All right guys, well, thanks for joining me today. I'll see you next time.